Please enjoy this feature presentation of the Crooked River Radio Network. This program is rated for all audiences.
Buckeye Time is sponsored by CrookedRiverRadio.com. Crooked River Radio is an internet radio station that is live 24/7 playing rock and adult contemporary top 40 hits from the 60s through the 90s. You can find us on Live 365, Simple Radio, Roku, Radio Garden, and even Alexa, as well as our website. Come on and join us on the Crooked River.
Welcome to Buckeye Time. All Ohio all the time. Sports and intelligent conversation. Here's your hosts Erik, Nannarone, and Pat Morrow.
Hello and welcome to Buckeye Time. I'm Erik.
I'm Pat.
And tonight we have a special guest, Beth Roose. Beth?
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. You guys are so much fun. This will be a fun time for all.
Yeah, that's what she says cautiously.
I'm really excited about tonight's show. So, before we get to the main part of the show, I want to just do a quick promo, a couple quick promos, which will actually lead us into the topic for tonight. So, you can always check us out on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, why am I drawing a blank? Spotify, Amazon Music,
and even Alexa.
Yeah, that's the one I always forget when I do promos for this. You just tell Alexa to play Buckeye Time podcast, and she will. And of course, my Alexa in the room decides to start talking. Also, on Sunday mornings, from 11 to noon, on Crooked River Radio, there is a podcast called Tales of the Lore Hunters, hosted by Beth and Pat. So,
I'm just
starting
here to
off,
provide entertainment.
Disney would be proud of us.
That's right.
yeah. So, starting off with that, tell us about Tales of the Lore Hunters and maybe how it was born.
I write books, and one of the, not one of them, all of my books encompass Bigfoot and the Pukwudgie and different folklore, like the Loch Ness Monster, which, by the way, we are doing this week. Pat and I obviously went to school together. We know
Did
each
we?
other, and
Who are you?
yeah, we went to school together. I know. And
God, that was a long time ago, wasn't it?
it feels like forever. I saw somebody from 1972. Ellie had a get together, and I'm looking at those people and I'm going, "Oh my God, they're old." And then I thought, "Oh my God, that's me.
So am I.
I'm old." So we because I write about the Galactic Federation and different cryptoids, we decided to give it a whirl and see what type of viewership that we would get from that. And so we covered things like Bigfoot and Pukwudgie and
The funny part about that podcast is that we quit. We did it for it was about 6 or 8 months, wasn't it?
Yes.
Something like that. And I think there was maybe 6 or 8 episodes recorded. really not a whole lot. But the strange part of it was the people just kept listening to it. It was available on Spreaker, and the Spreaker downloads were beating anything that we had there for a while on that was being produced every week. You know, it was still...
From what you've told me, they were double and tripling some of the stuff
right.
we had weekly.
Beth was the best download we had for quite a while. And even now, since it's returned, the numbers are through the roof. And
all good.
The best part about it, one of the best parts about it is Apple Podcast is our biggest distributor there, and their the numbers are bigger there. There's them and the Spotify, I think, are the two highest that we've got. And you know that's saying something. There's a niche for this.
Mm-hmm.
And
there is a definite niche for this.
And
lots of people interested in aliens and all kinds of things.
And this is really why I thought I'd talk to Beth about bringing it back when we did. And of course she graciously agreed.
One of the things when it was unique that Pat called when he did is my sister's been doing a lot of ancestry, and one of my ancestors is Daniel Boone, and he's of course in all of my books. But one thing I found out through the writings is that he killed a Bigfoot at one time. So a 10-foot giant. He called him a giant. He killed a giant that was 10 foot. And he also ran into the Pukwudgie, which they're small, they're shapeshifters and they're tricksters. But he talks about in his memoirs the tricksters, they called them, and also shooting a giant. And he told many people about the shooting of the giant.
For those who don't know what shapeshifters are, can you explain what those are?
A shapeshifter is, like this is a cryptoid, and it can shift its biomolecular into another species. So he can shift from a Pukwudgie to anything, a bird, a werewolf, a Bigfoot. He can change his molecular makeup to shapeshift into anything. And so, and you'll hear a lot about shapeshifters on Skinwalker Ranch. That's what they are saying they're plagued by, is a shapeshifter that came when due to a curse on the Ute tribe there.
That's actually really cool. So let's get into the first book trailer, which is called Jimmy Paul the Pug Tooth Fairy.
Yes, a children's book.
So before we get into the trailer, what was kind of the idea behind this book?
Well, that's something always happens that spurs me. My dad was having teeth problems. He was like 82 at the time, and he was going to go have them pulled. And he was telling me when I was visiting him, and I said, "Oh, where's your tooth fairy pillow so we can leave you money?" And he laughed, and he goes, "Yeah, that'd make a great book." And I sat back and I went, "Wait a minute, it really would," because he had a big thing for dogs. So I thought, okay, Jimmy Paul, and my sister that lives in Houston is she had all kinds of pugs. She helped with the pug rescue down there and all that. So it became Jimmy Paul, which was my dad's. He was James Paul, but everyone called him Jimmy. So Jimmy Paul, and then my sister's pugs and Tooth Fairy. So Jimmy Paul the Pug Tooth Fairy was born.
That's how.
Hey, if a human can have a tooth fairy,
let's
so
roll the clip, Pat.
Okay. You okay, Erik?
Yeah, why?
You seem to be chopping up there a little bit. I think that's why the confusion. Anyway, we will run the Pug Tooth Fairy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we'll be back on the other side. You're listening and watching the Crooked River Radio Network and Buckeye Time.
Hey, I heard old Grumpy Sarge lost a tooth this morning. And you know what that means? The Tooth Fairy!
Oh, I have a plan. I've had a plan since Sarge lost his last tooth.
He only has one more tooth left. Oh my gosh, he looks like my grandma. Ugh.
There is a tooth fairy. Giles, do you see him?
I see him. He is real. Come on, fess up.
What's he talking about?
You put together this whole plan to capture me, didn't you?
Your ears go up, your tail starts wagging, tongue comes out, your whole body's wagging. That's what it means to be a dog. Chasing cars, catch him if you're able, barking at the mailman, eating off the table. That's what it means to be a dog.
I love it. The voices you hear, I recorded this in Nashville, and some of my friends are Christian music artists.
I love that dog.
And yeah, Giles, the singing bulldog, is Ian Owens, who is with the Imperials, and now he's with a group from Ohio called Sold Out. And when he's here, I try to go see him. And then he had Jason Morales, a big Christian artist. He was the dog that looked like it had no hair except for on its head. And so it was a lot of fun recording it. It has the Dove Seal of family programming. So the Dove Seal is an award you get by the Christian, it's equivalent to the Emmys, and that only it's Christian. So it's a Dove Award. So that has the Dove Award in the book.
Wow. I do want to quickly say hello to our friends out there listening on Twitter. Ellie and Gary, guess who they are,
Hi, Ellie.
Beth?
Hi, Ellie.
And I think we're impressing. From what I'm seeing, she said we're impressing Gary. So, good for that.
I'm waiting to hear how she liked the cover of her book.
Yeah, we'll see that in the text here in a second, I'm sure.
Yeah, certain of it.
And the one thing about that pug, I love that dog. I could watch that dog 100 times and not get tired of it.
I hear that from everyone.
That voice on that dog is probably the funniest thing I ever heard.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. That how did you get him to sing? And the story behind that was he was waiting for the tech to get the soundboard all set up, and he was going through his lines. He's a singing artist. That's what he does for a living. So he was singing his lines, and we were all standing there watching Ian, and I was like, oh my gosh, he has got to sing all his lines. I'm not going to take this. Is too wonderful. So I walked inside the actual studio where he was recording. I said, hey, Ian, how's your lines? They sound good to me. And he goes, yeah, they're great. I said, good. You're singing them just like you did while you're waiting on us. And he goes, oh, you're kidding me. I don't have music. I said, well, you didn't need music a few minutes ago. So you don't need music now. Get after it there, buddy. And he did.
So, before we get into the next video, or actually, we're gonna get into the Red Pigwanji. So if you have that picture, Pat, in a minute, can you pull that up? But the picture, the screenshot I sent you.
That's the screenshot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look for that. I got the one picture.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
The Red Penguin. The red
Oh,
penguin picture with
he
my
called
books.
it Penguanji. I'm like, what?
I
Eric, you're messing with me
Penguin.
again.
It's shape-shifted into a penguin.
yeah. Okay, whatever. So,
Yeah, whatever. You know what I got to
That-
say about that, Eric?
Hey.
What?
I think you have something on your tongue. Show it to me.
Uh,
I can't possibly look that fast. You gotta keep your mouth open.
bleh.
Stop. I'm being serious. This could be dangerous.
See it?
No. Just stop.
Bleh.
Ser-
okay. Before we get into that, though, you worked for NASA for a bit.
I did.
Right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What led you from NASA to writing books?
Actually, I helped start the Polar Express program for the Cuyahoga Valley National Park with Ranger Karen Kopchik. And in helping train, I became known as Elf Sparkle.
You know, I have actually
everything
met Karen. I've actually
You
met
have met Karen? Yeah.
She actually did a presentation for my club here, probably about 2019, I think, on the Polar Express and that, and how it was, how it ran right up pretty much to the pandemic and that.
Right.
And her and another guy came in to do a talk. One of my my actual trustees for my club is a conductor on that train.
Oh, gosh, great. Well, I love the train. I love everything about the train. And so Karen said, you know what, you should do a film. And I was like, I do anthropometrics, not video film. So she goes, well, write a book. And I was like, I can write a technical manual. Does that count? She said no. So I wrote a book, and she loved it. I thought it was needed work because it was my first book, my first try. And then she goes, I think you should make a film. And I was like, oh, okay. I said, can I just do a proof of concept? And she goes, what's that? I was like, oh. I could tell you work for the government. So, and the proof of concept is just, where you do a small kind of sample, which I offshored to India and used a bunch of neighbor kids. And we did like a little 7-minute clip, kind of like Jimmy Paul the Pug Tooth Fairy, only it wasn't not even a quarter as good as that. So everyone loved it at the park, and then I went and had a real company produce it and went to Hollywood, and we used Rob Schneider and Catherine Hicks, the mom from Seventh Heaven, and John Walmsley, Jason from the Waltons, and a bunch of people that people would know. So a lot of Hollywood people.
Oh wow, the mom from Seventh Heaven.
Huh?
I used to love that show. That's why. That used to be like my favorite show.
I usually tell me all about what Rob Schneider was like. Normal guy, well, semi-normal. And he came in, and I was doing the SAG paperwork, and he came in, and he said, he jumps on the couch, and he sits down and puts his arm around me, and he says, is this the director chair? So I closed the folder, and I said, it sure is. Get the SAG paperwork done and call me when you're done. Because, no, that's not what's supposed to happen on the director's couch. Get out of here. So he was funny, down to earth. My favorite person there was Rance Howard, Ron Howard's dad. He played Rudolph, and he just was so humble and so wonderful. And our Santa was John Delancey, Q from Star Trek.
That's my guy. That's my guy.
Well, when I started looking for folks to be the voices, I looked for Ohio actors, and believe it or not, Mr. Delancey went to Kent State University before he went to Juilliard.
That's the one, Erik,
So-
that I was telling you played Q on Star Trek.
Okay.
He also was
Yeah.
a big soap opera star there for a while.
Days of Our Lives.
He
Now
was
he's back on Picard's show on Paramount. I see he's in this season, the whole season. So
On
I haven't
where?
watched it, but on Paramount streaming.
What show though?
It's called Picard. You know, like Jean.
Oh, really?
Picard.
I saw that.
Yes. Yeah. So he does that, and yeah. Well, anyway, I won't say anything else about him. And then yeah.
Just quickly, when we're done talking about this, calling an audible, we're gonna roll the clip for Elf Sparkle. But we'll continue with what we're talking about. I just wanted to let Pat know so he could get ready
Right.
to cue that up.
Get it ready. So there was the folks were just lots of fun, and then of course we John Walmsley, who was Jason in the Waltons, he wrote a lot of the original music that is in both Elf Sparkle films. Elf Sparkle Meets Christmas the Horse and Elf Sparkle in the Special Red Dress. He wrote a lot of the music. So, and then we used a lot of Nashville talent, like Lady Antebellum's mom, Linda, I forget what her last name is, but she has her own Emmy award, or not Emmy, but boy, I can't remember. Something for the Country Music Awards for it. So, you know, it was a lot of fun putting it together. It was a lot of work because I was working a real full-time job at the same time I was doing this. So,
You know, something I think I've never asked you, and I've done quite a few shows with you. We've did the one-on-ones and all that. How did you actually get into the production of the movies and that?
Well,
And
okay,
did you always
I'll
think you were
admit,
going to be a book author?
I never thought I was going to be a book author. Are you kidding me? I was told from the time I was a little kid that I would never amount to anything. So that was never in my vision. So I liked science. I liked math. That was my vision for my life. And how I got it was all Karen Kopchik who encouraged me to go for it. She said I was extremely talented in that area and could understand why I wasn't doing that. So,
I mean, the break into Hollywood had to have been pretty rough, wasn't it?
not really.
Did you just go out there and say, here I am, let me start producing?
No, I called an agent, and the agent I just happened to get a hold of it. You know, I believe in your footsteps are preordained. And my first call and my first agent was to John Provost's wife. She was an agent. I had no idea, you know, she didn't go by Provost. And even then, I don't think it would have dawned on to me, this is Timmy from the Lassie series. So she had a lot of the folks that were once A players and now probably C players, except for Delancey. And then I gotta say, Delancey, his on his Facebook page, it's his phone number. His cell phone number. It's like, how dumb can you be? So I called it. I thought, what do I have to lose? He could just hang up on me. And so I called and I said, you know, I told him what I was doing, and I was from Ohio, and we were going to be doing a cartoon, if you will, with the Cuyahoga Valley National Park. And I would like to talk to him to see if he'd be interested in Santa, since he has a beautiful baritone voice. So it wasn't even 20 minutes later, he called me back. He said he was willing to do it for free since it was for the park. And then so I said, well, and I thought, well, what else do I have to lose? Well, who else do you know that might want to do it? And so I got all kinds of people. So I'm a big believer that your steps are preordained. And so I think I was destined to do it, you know, and I was there at the right place, right time, you know, and here I am.
Did you wanna write books as a kid, or what was like your big dream of what you wanted to do when you were young, like a child?
Well, I gotta say, I really didn't have a dream. I was too busy doing chores. You know, we had horses and stuff like that. And so I really never thought about what I wanted to do. I knew I liked science. I knew I liked math, but I really didn't care. I just wanted to get out of the house and be on my own. And, you know, if I'm going to do chores, I want it to be for me, not for anybody else. So I guess I was kind of selfish. So what can I say?
So let's run the Elf Sparkle video.
All right, we can do that. We'll be back on the other side. You're listening and watching the Crooked River Radio Network and Buckeye Time.
I will reach the sky. You taught me to climb. My life's in your hands. I'll do all that I can. It's so sweet. You're here with me. You've been cheering me on and watching so faithfully. I can feel you. Yes, I've always known your love. So the least I can do is never give up. So the least I can do is never give up.
I love that song. It's so inspiring. And I have to say, I thought about what you had asked. And, for me, and Pat knows Mrs. Fiddler from Woodridge High School. She always encouraged me. She saw that art talent in me that I didn't think I have. And somewhere, I don't know where it is, she helped me sculpt a Native American head for an art project to enter in an art contest. And, I always thought I was terrible at it, but she kept saying, no, you're good at it. You're good at it. And who knows, it lay dormant for years. And, it was just a matter of getting the right people at the right time, the right place to make all of it come together. Like, for instance, that song. And, I'm a Christian. And so I believe that there's a reason for everything. And there's lots of times, it wasn't all fun and games. It was hard. And lots of times I wanted to give up, but occasionally at the right time, I see that clip, and I hadn't seen it for probably 2 years. And when you were playing it, it was like, yeah, I can never give up. So here we are. I'm never giving up. I'm going to keep going. And while the path is not easy, in the end, it is worth it.
That's awesome. I was gonna ask something and now I forgot. So, love when that happens. But
well, I usually get people ask me what's my favorite kids book I've written, and I would have to say Toodles the Pink Poodle. It was about my Aunt Maisie. It was my Grandma Mabel's brother's kid. But at any rate, she was funny, and she used to sing at Nick Anthony's in Talmadge. She would play that little ukulele and could not sing to save her life, but everybody thought it was funny, and it was fun. They would flock there to have her sing Happy Birthday on that ukulele. She was a prankster all in herself. So I worked with, I actually chatted with Kathy, her daughter, about her mom, and we came up with Toodles the Pink Poodle. Everything's pink.
That's awesome. How just all these books have a backstory.
They do. Every single book has absolutely has a backstory, and mostly not the kids' books so much, but like my adult books was from something I saw maybe on YouTube or somewhere. Something I saw inspired me. Like for one of my adult books, I saw a beautiful pin, a steampunk pin that was a hornet, and it had a queen's crown on it. So I wrote about the Hornet Queen. So it's just different things I see that inspires me, and I never know what it's going to be, but my mind is always open.
Tell us about. I know all about your kids' books. Tell us more about your more adult-aimed books.
Well, I have like 24 books, so some of my books are with a publisher, and others I self-published. So, but most of them, well, not most of them, all of them, I've worked with folks that I've went to school with. So if they're all circled around the Galactic Federation, and Morgan King is the president of the Galactic Federation. He was ahead of me at Woodridge. And then also Bev Grissom, she was in my class. She is Dr. Motis. He's a well-known doctor that has since passed away, but he was well-known in Cuyahoga Falls and loved by many. And then Ellie Metzer-Cargill, who you hear Pat and I talk about.
Yeah.
She is also on there. She plays Morgan's book wife. Oh, no, wait, not her. How did I say that? She is the head of HR and plays Bernie Kosar's wife. He is an ambassador for the Galactic Federation, and he is president-elect when Morgan retires. Mr. Kosar will take his place, and that's who Ellie's married to. That's his book wife. So, and then Marcia Garvin-Zor is Morgan's book wife, and many who went to Woodridge knows her dad, Mr. Garman. He was the principal at Woodridge Elementary, or at that time it was Northampton Elementary, and she is the kindest, nicest person you'd ever want to meet. And both her and Bev live in Texas, and of course I lived in Texas, so it's like we all migrated to Texas, and I migrated back. So
that's awesome.
But my favorite book I've got here, this is my favorite book that I've written that I actually have two. I have one called Warrior Horse. Oh, you can't see it. That's flipped the wrong way. But Warrior Horse is about a ranch and a ranch owner with a 12-year-old daughter a 10-year-old daughter, I'm sorry. And, they're trying to fight off the U.S. government who's trying to take their land and mineral rights. So I love that book. The other book I like is called Evie's Rescue. And that little girl on the front is Bev Grissom's granddaughter. I borrowed her for this, but I love this book. She gets rescued from a great white shark, and it's Morgan and his group rescues little Evie. So, but I have others, like I love that. Okay, here's the backstory of Batmasterson. Of course, there's Morgan King and a Batmasterson. They time traveled back in time to look for people that could help protect the galactic executives, because they had a difficult time finding people that were honest and had integrity and wouldn't sell out to the bad guys. So they went back in time and they gathered Batmasterson, Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, the whole Peace League, Bill Tillman, Luke Short, Charlie Bassett. So they brought them forward in time and they started the Peace League. And they're basically Secret Service. They are the Secret Service agents for the Galactic Federation. So they had a lot to learn. They had to learn aliens, what they look like, of course, modern technology like lasers and that. So those coming forward had a lot to learn before they could really do the Justice League, and turn into greatness from after they learned all that. So anyway, that's, I have a good time writing. And now the backstory on Batmasterson. Let's see, my dad called me and I was visiting and he says, listen, before I go, and I said, gosh, where are you going? You going to Florida to visit Heidi, my sister down there? And he goes, no. Well, where are you going? And he says, I am going, I'm 87. Where do you think I'm going? And I was like, well, I don't know, you going to Texas? And he said, no. And I was like, he goes, I'm in the red zone. I said, when did Cuyahoga Falls start having zones? And he goes, no, stupid, I'm 87. And I was like, hey now, watch who you're calling stupid now. And he says, going to be with your mom. And I was like, that going somewhere. He goes, now, I love Louis L'Amour and Zane Grey and all of that. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, well, I want you to write books like that and put me in them. And I was like, Dad, I've never even read one of those books. I hate cowboys and Indians. I hate those kind of books. And he goes, no, that's what I want you to do. And so you're going to put me in the books with Batmasterson and Wyatt Earp. They're a bunch of scoundrels, and I don't want to be a scoundrel, though. I was like, okay. And so he hands me like 12 of the Zane Grey and Louis L'Amour books. And he goes, here, read these so you get a feeling of it. And then we'll talk about what I want to do, what I want to be in there, what character I want. I was like, oh, God, help me. How do I tell him no? I said, Dad, I write kids' books. I had not done a real book. I call it a real book. This was the first real book I did. And so for adults. And so he kept bugging me. Have you read those books yet? Have you read those books yet? I was like, oh my God, I've got to read the books. So I read like 2 of them. And so I made a point to bring both of them, hand them to my dad, say, here, you can have these back. I've read them. They're all the same. They basically say the same thing with just different names. So, and he goes, okay, so before I die, I want you to do one and put me in it. I was like, well, how much time do I have here? And he goes, well, who knows? I'm 87. Get busy writing. It's like, oh my God, okay, all right.
I love your father.
So I got something else. But I did get this done before he passed away, and he did read it, and he loved it. And so he goes, I want you to write those. Keep writing them. And I was like, oh, Dad, can I write my kids' books now? And he goes, no. And so then, he passed away last February. And I kept thinking, gosh, I want to quit writing these stupid books. I go, okay, they're not stupid, but I want to quit writing this. And then, so I went to visit my mom and dad's gravesite and took flowers and everything about a month ago. And I was like, can I please quit writing these books? Can I please release me, please? And so I haven't felt released yet. So I guess I've got a couple more to write till I'm allowed to switch to something else. Although I don't know what else I would write except going back to kids' books.
You could write about aliens.
I know. I love writing about aliens. Aliens are in most of my books. There's the Nordic race, the Aldermen, the Abalons, the folks from Planet Lyra. All the planets I use are real planets. And so, and then there's the bad guys. Those are from Cause 2 planet. They're a mining planet. Now, I don't know anything about it except it's, on my sky, that sky swarm. Well, Pat does sky swarm. This is a sky watch and it has the whole, galaxy, and it points out different, you can touch on the screen and it tells you what planet it is. So that's how I found all my planets. I just went outside, touched on the screen and said, oh, good planet. I'm writing that down. So.
I'm sitting here looking at Amazon with, with the stuff you've got on there. Very impressive list.
It is. It's so scattered. I wish they put all my. Unless you type Beth. Well, even if you type Beth Roose in Amazon, they don't always keep all the books together.
Yeah, I typed Beth Roose books, and that's where I've come up with them.
So
Beverly, is that about Bev Grissom?
Yes, that's a new book right here.
As soon as I saw
brand
that,
spanking new.
As soon as I
saw that, I thought, Batmasterson and Wyatt Earp. So,
sweet.
Yeah.
What's the little background on that book? Since you said it's a new book.
It is brand new. It's the last book I've had up. It is about Bev Grissom, who is Dr. Motice's book wife, and he's vice president of the Galactic Federation. Well, they ran into a problem with the bad guys in AI. AI has been wreaking havoc on the galaxy and taking over people because they know how to take chips and download every part of the brain on a chip, and they place them in AIs, which, unless you know what you're looking for, you would think it was that person. So in order to get rid of a shipload of them, which included all of them as AI, they needed someone small to climb into the garbage bin, which is very small, but it's vulnerable, and you can just open it up on a spaceship. And so she crawled in with the help of Wyatt Earp and Batmasterson to help her leave this device to implode the spaceship, and then she put an exterior device on that. This white background is actually a membrane technology that covers the ship and keeps all the debris contained. So, basically, she understood the danger and the mysterious, adventure this would take them on, and they just continue to keep facing this ancient enemy who said that they were the gods, Olympus, Zeus, and all that. And they were not. They were just aliens that they got entangled with and are in a deadly struggle to get away from. So,
as far as the adult books you've written, is there any, or have you done any that were actually sequels? Or have you ever thought about it?
Yes. All of the ones with Red Penguin are the Forest Guardian series. And then all of these that I just showed you are all the Batmasterson series. So, yeah, I haven't done any. Well, that's not true. Warrior Horse is independent. It's a standalone. Although I am going to do a sequel to this. I promised Bob Collins, who we went to school with, I promised Bob I would do a sequel to this. So I just need to get his other granddaughter or someone to be stand with a horse and take a picture so I can Photoshop it, make it look great, and have a cover. Because I do all the covers. I've done all the covers of these books. Every cover I have done, every single one of them. So, Photoshop is my friend.
Oh, it always is.
It's my friend.
One of the best programs I ever wrote.
This one is my favorite. This is my favorite cover, Blues War. It's about a blue alien species that is out to rule the galaxy. So this one is my favorite.
That almost looks like it might have been inspired by, what the hell was the name
Avatar.
of that? Avatar, yeah.
Avatar, yes. I've had lots of people say that. The other one that, believe it or not, is the bestseller is Christmas in the Cuyahoga Valley. And as you can see, it's about Bigfoot. But it is my bestseller. Yeah. So it's centered in the Cuyahoga Valley, and it's about Bigfoot, and he saves a little boy.
So, yeah, you had mentioned the gosh, now I'm drawing a blank again. Love it. Oh, the Polar Express in the Cuyahoga Valley. Tell us a little more about that.
Well, I did a book on it. It's with the Scenic Railroad. It's the railroad incident. And the Galactic Federation was with Mr. Kozar, and he was doing a dinner on the, as many of you may know, when they do serve dinners on the Cuyahoga Valley Scenic Railroad. And the caterer is none other than Bernie Kosar's restaurant. So I wrote this into a book about, how the president of the Galactic Federation got, the train got hijacked and was holding people hostage, and, the typical, thing that would have happened back in Batmasterson's day, only with modern technology.
So, this is kind of off books, but you kind of mentioned about other planets, and also kind of your views religiously. But do you believe there's actually life on other planets, or do you think that's kind of a more created conspiracy? Or do you feel
Well,
comfortable?
personally, I believe that there is life on other planets, but they are the fallen angels. That's what I believe. So, and I'm, as are the millions of species here on this planet, there are a bazillion of the fallen angels and the watchers that were kicked out of heaven. So you can just imagine how they number. And I'm sure they've reproduced on other planets, because remember, they are smart like God, so they have that technology. They went with left heaven with technology. So, right or wrong, that's how I see them as fallen angels.
Like personally, when it comes to that, I think there is life on other planets. Because I don't think God created the other planets just to take up space. So, like, there's a point, and I think that point is there's life, maybe not on all of them, but some of them do have life. Some of them maybe don't. But maybe just because they can't find water on other planets, maybe that planet's life has adjusted over years to live on something else. If that makes sense.
And there's not saying that all life is carbon based. I mean, that's kind of arrogant for us to think that all life would be carbon based. So there may be species that does not need water. They live off of, as you say, something else, because they're not carbon based.
Oh, yeah.
Have you have you seen any of the pictures from the new telescope?
The Hubble, yes.
No, not the Hubble.
Spectacular.
The
Webb.
The James Webb thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yes, and they are spectacular.
If you couple that with what I heard this afternoon, which there's supposed to be from deep space, there comes a heartbeat. a heartbeat tone. You got to wonder, are we part of another being? Could there be? Yeah, this is pretty deep stuff here. And I started thinking about this the other day. Could we actually be part of another being? Could we be a molecule of that?
Honestly, yes. I think it's definitely highly possible that we're part of another being and we just don't realize that. And there's, I don't know how they'd be able to research that, but if they find a way to research that, I think they would find, that we are somehow a part of another being.
Some of the research that I've done in the past was on I had to write a paper on the God gene for college, and I decided to research it out. And there does seem to exist a gene in the human makeup that is actually called the God gene, or they're calling the God gene, which they think is a direct relationship to the maker. You know, you put all this stuff together, you just kind of wonder, you know, could it actually be that we are part of another being? And hope that being doesn't die very soon. I mean, when you think about that, you know, we could, of course, the whole planet could be squashed in a heartbeat. But it's interesting thoughts.
Well, you know, you're Catholic, so that, you know, and I've studied Catholicism, and you know, we're all created in His image. We're made from Him. So is the heartbeat, we're hearing the heartbeat of God?
That is a interesting theory there, or question. Not
My
theory,
answer
but
to that would be God only knows.
Yeah, good point.
Thanks, Pat. You're funny. Well, all I know is that, you know,
But Pat's statement is true. Sorry to cut you off, Beth.
No, it is true. I think that, you know, I don't even know what to say. It's just I don't want to be fooled by Project Bluebeam that the government has, you know, done, where everything's going to be, we're going to get faked out because they're going to put it all holographic and we're going to think it's real and it's not. So that's what I don't want to get caught up in. Is this real, or is this Project Bluebeam?
That's a good question. I do.
It seems like. Oh, go ahead, Pat.
You go ahead. You're the host. You go.
Okay. It seems like everybody focuses on Mars. Why is that, with your experience from NASA, if you're allowed to kind of say that? Why does it seem like Mars is the one planet everybody is looking at for secondary life form instead of kind of looking at everything in general?
Well, actually, the government is looking more towards Venus because of Valiant Thor.
Oh.
Now, Valiant Thor supposedly came from Venus. He and shipmates landed in Alexandria, Virginia, turned themselves into the cops who got him to the Pentagon, and he and his shipmates lived 3 years in the Pentagon. And of course, that's where we got a lot of our technology, as Valiant Thor shared a lot of the technology with us. However, the most important thing was peace and feeding and all this. And, you know, we had to agree to give up nuclear weapons and we wouldn't do it. So he left. So I would say Venus, there's a lot of looking at Venus because of Valiant Thor.
How long have they been looking at Venus? Because this is interestingly.
Valiant Thor came in the 50s.
And
he met with Eisenhower. So, you know, they've been looking at it for quite a while. And yes, they do look at Mars. And if you listen to some of the folks that do not care that they signed a non-disclosure and are now disclosing that they're, according to them, we've had colonies on Mars since '66. Excuse me.
But with that, is the government going after those people who are
I don't know.
divulging?
I don't know, but I know nothing. Let's just put
Okay.
it that way. I know nothing.
Well, with this,
Well, I wasn't like trying to get you in trouble. Please don't think I was trying to get down that route.
No. I'm just saying that if you
Okay.
want to know anything, all you have to do is Google is your friend. Google
Yes.
Mars in 1966, and you'll find all sorts of information.
Okay. Well, thanks for leading me in the right direction.
Yeah.
I'll definitely.
And then definitely, I would recommend that everyone Google Valiant Thor, Thor, and read about him. It's a very interesting read. It's free on Kindle. So if you have Kindle, it's free. His book, or a book about him.
Okay. That's good to know. Well, I'll definitely.
before we
look that
run too far out of time here, let's. I do want to get her advertisements up, so let's go with this next.
Oh yeah.
And I have
Yeah,
one
there's
other
all
one that I
my.
got to
That's
put in.
who my publisher is, Red Penguin.
And Beth is available on Red Penguin Books. I'm going to put another one up here, but it's going to take me a second to put it in there.
Okay. The White House Code is if you like Dan Brown's book, like the Da Vinci Code, and that you'll like the White House Code.
We also have, before we wrap up, we have one more book trailer to do, and that's the. Let me make sure I'm reading it right. My
The
phone.
red dress.
The red dress, yeah.
Oh yeah, and look, there is the Pink Poodle. Toodles the Pink Poodle, my favorite kids book.
And of course, this is all on Amazon. As I
Yeah.
did up there in the top, you just put in Beth Roose Books, and that'll show up all these.
And I discounted all the books this week. So every book, well, except for Red Penguins, I can't discount theirs. But all my other books are discounted. So like I did see at the top there, you have Grandma Mabel Rescues Pearl. It's $1.60. Where could you get a brand new book for $1.60? I think Toodles the Pink Poodle's $3.20. So I've discounted all of them. Most of the books are $4.88. So, now's the time. It will only be good until next Friday.
Well, that's cool.
Pat, can we put that in the show description so people can get
Yeah,
that?
I can
or-
put the links to both of these in there,
Okay,
Good
cool.
to you.
to the Amazon thing.
Before we wrap up, let's get into the red dress.
I think that trailer was pretty long, so we can probably just do
Yeah.
a couple minutes of it,
Yeah.
and then we'll dump
Okay.
out of it. If that's
My
all
bad,
right.
Oh, is that the one with the music video I did with Snow?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's that. I did a music video around Special Red Dress with the girls who sang one of the songs in the film called Snow. And we filmed it at Brandywine. And of course, it didn't snow. It was middle of winter. It was so disappointing.
Oh, I didn't realize how long that was.
Oh, yeah.
I think what we can do is we'll put the Amazon link in. Anybody that's watching, if you want more information about Beth, we'll make sure we get all her information, the link to Amazon and the link to Vimeo, so you can see some of the videos that we've done.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
We'll get all that in the show information.
Okay, sounds good.
You want to run a couple minutes of this red dress thing?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, we'll be back in a couple minutes to wrap it up. You're listening and watching the Buckeye Time on Crooked River Radio.
This is North Pole Radio. Santa here. Coming up next, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
It's North Pole. It always looks like Christmas.
Everywhere
You better believe it.
you go.
Well, except at my house, I got that one thing.
5 and 10.
Hey, why don't we listen to the radio? You think we could afford a TV up here?
Candy canes and silver lanes aglow.
And gingerbread.
Yeah, man.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Toys in every store.
Oh, and a leather jacket.
But the prettiest sight to see is the holly that will be.
Who's Holly?
Your own front door.
She's a teacher, I
A
think.
pair of hop-along boots and a pistol that shoots is the wish of Barney and Ben. Dolls that will talk and will go for a walk is the hope of Janice and Jen. And Mom and Dad can hardly wait for school to start.
No kidding.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you go. There's a tree in the Grand Hotel, one in the park as well. The sturdy kind that doesn't mind the snow.
Do they get any other stations here?
Yeah, why aren't they playing like Freebird?
Soon the bells will start. And the thing that will make them ring is the carol that you sing right within your heart. Right within.
Oh, right within. Right within your heart.
A wonderful wish, Elf Rachel. And that's more in Mother Nature's area. Blizzard, we already know what you want. Oh, this is such a special wish. I just know that Mrs. Claus will want to read this. I know this is the one. Gosh, I hope Mrs. Claus is at home. I must take this to her at once.
All right, I hate to cut out of that, but
That's good.
that'll at least give them an idea on what's there. Erik, I'll go ahead and let you wrap it up. I'll take the final, and we'll go ahead and get
I
the
think
fuck on out of here.
my usual wrap up is not a good fit for tonight. So, quick promos. Let's do that first. Saturday morning from 11 to noon is Four Guys on Sports with Sean, Gordon, Nate, and Pat. Sunday, Tales of the Lore Hunters with Beth and Pat. And
Boy, Pat
Radioactive.
gets around, don't he?
What?
I said, boy, Pat gets around, don't he?
He does.
A little bit. But Sunday from 7 to 9 is Radioactive. Most likely I won't be on this week, Pat, so just know that in advance. And then World According to Elmer. That's it. It's Tuesday from 7 to 8 p.m. with Jerry and Pat.
Jerry Sorensen.
Yeah.
And that podcast last week was probably one of the best ones we did. If you get a chance and you want to watch something pretty cool as far as, even though it's tech amateur radio related, I actually talked to the space station by way through their ham radio repeater. It was pretty cool. And then we did a segment on what it's like for the astronauts to be up there and talk back. Pretty good segment, or actually pretty good shows. Get a chance to look it up. I think that's going to about wrap it.
Quick Again, as I said at the beginning of the show, check out all of the shows on Spreaker, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or
Podbean.
Podbean. That's what I forgot earlier.
Alexa.
Thank you. That was what I was about to say. So, go ahead.
I was going to say at the top right-hand corner is a drop-down box. If you click that box and click follow, you can follow Buckeye Times, Tales of the Lore Hunter, and Crooked River Radio, and all of his all the podcasts on Crooked River. So it's in a drop-down box when you first log on. Click on that and follow us.
Oh, also, we're on Twitch. You can watch us live or anytime. So we're there too. But with that, I want to thank Beth so much for joining.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
You guys are always fun.
And thank you for taking the time, dear. It's nice to see you. And we'll see you again Sunday.
So, with that, I want to say thank you everybody for listening, and have a great rest of your week. Talk to you next week.
You're not going to get the fuck out of here?
Nah,
come
not
on,
today.
Erik. Come on, Erik.
Okay.
You can do it. You can do it.
Y'all encouraged me. I just didn't think it'd fit tonight's show. But as the saying goes, it's time to be like a hockey player and get the puck out of here.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Pittsburgh!
This has been a Crooked River Media production.